All right, important question for our friendship. When you go to the movie theater, do you ask for extra butter or regular butter or no butter?
I put Skittles, not Skittles, M&M's with the popcorn.
All right, I'm going to remove George from this call.
Hold on, please.
Popcorn is not only more important than the movie you're watching, but was in fact responsible for single-handedly saving businesses from closing down, explaining the narcotics abuse during the Vietnam War, and most importantly, popcorn can explain why despite all your efforts, you aren't losing weight and it's not what you think. And yes, I did buy these popcorn holders just for this video. Now I understand the confusion. If you're like, Tasha, what's with the popcorn? Don't you normally talk about behaviors and mindsets instead of soft, puffy snacks? Well, everything about popcorn is about our thoughts, behaviors, and habits. I can explain, but before I jump into it, we have to talk a little bit about this super cheap yet extremely loved snack of the world. Agreed, popcorn is affordable and tasty, which is probably why we eat a lot of it. In fact, US alone eats about 25 billion pounds of popcorn a year, and most of it is in the theaters. But that's not even a reason enough to consider popcorn as important. Believe me, I've studied popcorn for about 30 hours straight, and this little kernel is now more important to me than my morning coffee. And that's saying something about my infatuation with popcorn. You see, humans did not always love popcorn the same way we do today. About a century ago, people didn't really sit in the theaters with the box of popcorn, but had to really sneak in their snacks for their uber expensive silent movies. Thankfully, that does not happen today, especially with our 12-second attention span. But in those days, as you hung out your coat outside the theater, you had to leave your snacks too. But that's where it gets interesting. By 1929, when the Great Depression started, people realized businesses could not sustain, especially those that were entertainment focused. Desperate times called for innovative measures, and it was then that the theater owners realized that this low-cost snack could pull in the movie lovers with its irresistible aroma of freshly popped corn. So, what did they do? Well, theater owners offered their front streets to these popcorn vendors to set up shop for a daily fee, and popcorn soon became synonymous with movies. But you see, there's more to human behavior there. Since the theaters that allowed popcorn started to thrive, while those that didn't died in the Depression. So thriving theaters kicked out the middlemen, the street vendors, and started to sell the snack themselves in their own buildings. Interestingly, as the economies improved, theater owners did consider keeping the snack out of the halls for more bougie and rich audience, with cleaner carpets and better seating. But truth be told, human binge eating behaviors don't really change across income levels. And soon the theater rooms of the rich that did not allow snacks shut down. Now with all that, it's obvious popcorn is a major reinforcer to enhancing our overall movie experience. But why is that? Well, you'll be amazed, but scientists have proven that popcorn can literally block those movie advertisements you so want to ignore. What I mean to say is that popcorn munching can stop any psychological response to those movie advertisements. Let me explain. Have you noticed when we come across a new word or a new name, we subconsciously try to articulate it and repeat it in our heads? Even though this subconscious action doesn't involve mouth movements, the act of eating a popcorn or anything else, in fact, disturbs the process. The repetition effect vanishes and there's no psychological response, meaning that the ad has no effect on the person eating popcorn when they watch them. Isn't that great? But you know, I'm not done yet. It's not just the popcorn affecting the movie experience, but vice versa too. You see, environment plays a powerful trigger in shaping our habits. For example, studies on popcorn eating, yes, there are researchers on that, show that people are willing to eat popcorn in a movie hall irrespective of the fact if they're fresh or stale, while the same stale popcorn in a school classroom setting or a meeting room setting will probably not be consumed. Now that sounds kind of obvious because I only stuff my face with popcorn if I'm engrossed in the movie. But what if someone tied your dominant hand to the handrest in the movie hall and only allowed you to use your non-dominant hand? Habitual popcorn eaters ate much less of the stale popcorn than the fresh when they used their non-dominant hand. It appeared to throw a wrench in their usual movie-going behavior and made them focus more on what they were eating and how it even tasted. That's the power of the environment, and this was also seen in the American army returning from war in Vietnam. You see, in 1971, when the Vietnam War veterans returned to the US, a study revealed that of the 943 men, 495 tested positive for narcotics. Yet, when they were tested months and sometimes a year after their return, only 7% of those 495 still showed signs of dependence or any relapse. Now that's interesting because normally those dependent on opiates tend to relapse at a much higher rate with treatment, almost close to 91%. So that 7% was unheard of. This large difference, in fact, has a very simplistic explanation. The soldiers' dependence on opiates was linked to the unusual environment that first forced them into the drug use. But when back into their civil life, they were quickly able to let go of their addictions, irrespective of their willpower and nature of addiction. This, as I would like to call it, the movie popcorn effect, also explains why it's difficult to lose weight. You see, we don't necessarily change our environment when we decide to start on a new behavior or habit. If I today wanted to lose about 10 pounds, I would probably set goals and pray that my willpower will be strong enough. But the secret there is, unless I avoid environments that trigger my binge eating habits or I set a schedule to disengage that habitual brain systems of lazing around, I wouldn't be able to make new habits. It's true when they say make a habit to break a habit. New habits do require effort, so choose your cues wisely. Obviously, that explains why throughout history, popcorn has been more important to cinema than the other way around. But that's not all. Over time, classical conditioning plays a big part in our popcorn purchasing behavior. How often do you feel tempted to purchase a bag of popcorn the moment you see someone else eating it in the hall? This conditioning is because of repeated exposure to the pairing of these stimuli, the sights and sounds of the theater, coupled with the aroma and the taste of popcorn. As a result, merely being in the theater environment can trigger cravings for popcorn, especially when we see others indulging in it, which reinforces the behavior. In the past few decades, popcorn has acted as a social lubricant, supporting interactions, bonding when among friends and family. If all this talk has gotten you excited for some more popcorn, then go ahead and get your bag, because you wouldn't want to miss this next video where I am sharing the 21 psychology tricks YouTube uses to keep us hooked to the platform.